Well, Simon Wilson, welcome back to Edgeley Park. We're talking today ahead of what's going to be another bumper crowd, we know, against Newport County. Average attendance this season, it's something in the region of 9,000, which is incredible. And that suggests the fans have really responded to what's happening here at County and what's happening on the pitch. And it feels like everybody is pretty much on the same page. Are we in quite a good place right now?
I think we're in a great place, John, and it's amazing how the supporters and the whole club have responded to what's going on, and that's an incredible asset for us all to have. Every time we come to the game now, we're expecting a full house and a noisy atmosphere, and that behind our backs. So it's great for the players, great for the management, but just the same for the whole club. I mean, from every department, we're the seats in the stadium are sold out, the hospitality's sold out, the shirt sales are incredible. Everyone's enjoying the courtyard. So the club's just coming together, and everybody is performing at a high level, and that's getting us where we are at the moment.
Stats at the moment are pretty impressive. 7 unbeaten. I think we've lost 1 out of 14 now. 10 unbeaten at home, and obviously just 2 points now outside the automatic promotion places with 6 to play. If I'd offered you that at the start of the season and said, with 6 to play, this is where you'll be, would you have taken that?
I think we would. I mean, listen, first, we're disappointed about other games and other moments in the season where we do feel we could have got better. We probably don't feel we've hit our potential and hit our peak yet in with regard to the team and the players. I think the players would agree with that. The management staff would agree with that. However, the first year in the league after being in the National League, although we don't set ourselves up like a National League team, we've set ourselves up like a league team from the start. But the stats tell you that the first year is unlikely to get promoted. I think only 2 teams out of the last 20 over the last 10 years have been promoted, only 1 automatically. So to be in with a shot of automatic promotion this close to the end of the season is not normal, if you like, for a club that's promoted, and we would expect it to be something like that in the first year. So really, really pleased, and we've got some big games ahead and a big fight to go and get a huge prize.
I know from a fan's perspective, results are largely down to players, but I know you've got a much more kind of a broader view, much more holistic view of the club as a whole. What else do you think, the players apart, what else do you think has contributed to the success that we're enjoying this season?
Yeah, no, I think firstly you're right, dead right. Supporters are right. It is down to the players, the large proportion of it. But I suppose what you've got to do is put the odds in the favour of the players by getting everything else in the club in good shape. And it starts with the coaching staff. Coaching staff, I think, have got so much admiration for the way that they work. The results on the pitch sort of stand for themselves, although potentially we think we could have won more games to this point. We do have, I think it's the best expected goals in the league. I think we do have second or third highest goals scored, certainly second best clean sheets, defensive statistics and stuff like that. So you can't ask a huge amount more than to be within the top 2 positions in scoring goals and conceding goals. And over the course of the game, we will lose the odd game that you should have won. You will win the odd game that you should lose, and you hope that evens out over the course of the season. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But the coaching staff have managed to manage some difficult moments over the course of the season. Form, injury, international duty, this sort of thing, where changes have been forced upon them, and difficult tactical approaches by other teams. We've seen teams come here to not lose the game. Puts the emphasis on us, and overall, I think we're meeting those challenges, face first, and coming off the best in the majority of them. So credit for the coaching staff. We've done a lot of squad building this year again, and we saw it as a good opportunity to do that in League Two. We've brought the age of the squad down, and we've brought in some probably some longer term assets for the future in terms of Kyle and Fraser. As well as some what we thought were good opportunities for sort of top National League players that were under the age of 26 as well, with Akil and Joe Lewis and Connor Evans and so on. So, again, this is a team that we think we're trying to pull together because of their age and because of their experiences. They have a lot of potential. It's unproven, but they're on the way now to starting to realise some of that potential, and I think there's more to come.
We'll talk a little bit more maybe later about recruitment, but playing devil's advocate, the critics, and there are critics out there, will say, well, you should be doing well, the money that you spent. And there was a report recently about the money spent on agents' fees, and around £250,000 spent in the last 2 windows. Does that worry you at all, or does that just come with the territory?
Part and part, a bit of both really. I think there are, first off, it's the nature of the beast in terms of agents' fees are part of the overall financial component of a deal. And because we have a bigger wage bill, we'll have a bigger agent bill, and that's just the way it goes. There's, I guess, some mitigating circumstances in the reasons why ours is significantly higher than the rest of the league at this moment in time. Some of those agent fees we've paid sort of off a 3-year contract, we've paid it all up front. In this year. We've signed a majority of our players are free agents rather than transfer fees, where sometimes the way that the deal gets structured just means that the one takes from one pot and into another pot. We've also got a lot of players that are still on contract that are potentially out on loan where we're still liable for agents' fees. So there's different reasons why. That said, I could totally understand a fan's point of view to be concerned about the financial deals that we're doing at the club for the long-term health and sustainability of what we're doing, and we have to do that right. And I think that's where I'm really excited about what we're able to do with the academy and what we're able to do with development players, because that is going to be, it's the lifeblood of any club really. You get that right, you're on a good footing. We haven't had the chance to get that right because of not being able to have the academy previously. And like in anything that you're trying to get started, there's often a lot more upfront cost which smooths out over time. We've had to invest in the first team to get immediate impact in the results. And there's been other clubs that have come up from the National League that will have also had similar resources, whether it was Luton's or Fleetwood's or whoever it was that have been well backed and not performed as well as we have done in this first year. And which is not to say we're great, it's more to show that it's difficult to do and money doesn't get you everything. And I still think we need to recognise and credit the players and the coaching staff and all the people behind the scenes that are putting the team in the position that they're at the moment.
You have been, in fairness, very consistent. You talked there about the academy. You've really prioritised that side of things since you arrived, really. What can county fans look out for as kind of indicators of the progress that you're hoping to? Is it prospects? Is it pathways to the first team? Is it to do with possibly the B team, because we've seen the B team fixtures as well? What are you measuring against?
No, look, the academy is going to be a slow burn for the club. I mean, the academy for the true test of an academy is for a kid that comes in at 9 and plays in your first team at 19. So it's a 10-year kind of measurable, really. It's not hard to just see it in a season to season type basis. That said, I think we're ahead of schedule with some things that we've done. So we've already sold a couple of players, one to the Premier League, one to the Championship. From last year. This year we've been able to retain our better players by having the academy, and then we've had people like Cody, who signed his pro deal early, who has gone on loan to Banbury in the National League North, and for his age and for his profile is doing incredibly well to stay in that team and play regularly and play well, getting a lot of accolades. Ethan Pye, who we took as a release player from Rochdale at 18 years old. Again, we've started to design a pathway where he's got access to minutes. Some have been in our first team. He went out to Spennymoor, played a lot of games there in men's football, has done terrifically well with Gateshead this year, playing left side centre-half as a 20-year-old. And as we all know, there's not a lot of those is there around. So we're really excited about his progress and his maturity. And there's others, Keane Barrow's doing really well at FC United just recently. So and loans will be a really important part of all of our players' pathways as they get ready to go and play in our first team, because it isn't easy to go and play at the level of our team. It also to deal with the pressure of trying to win every single game because we're trying to win stuff and be promoted. We have to give them a good grounding and get them ready. So loans are really important. Sometimes loans will work out, sometimes they won't. We have to have a game schedule around that, which is why we have to have sort of friendly games and B team games where we're playing sort of players of the same age and ability, but mixed in with first team players. We try to play as many games as we can do here to get them used to playing at Edgeley Park and understanding what that environment is, just a better platform to play. And we think that sort of mix between sort of training day to day with our first team, handling the intensity and the level that we expect, as well as the professionalism and the behaviours, going out on loan, playing in B teams, we think that's a good grounding to get them ready to come and play in our first team. And probably of late we've had to bring, talked about Cody, who was in Oldham's academy. Keane Baru was in Man United's academy, Ethan Pye was in Rochdale's academy. Unfortunately, we're having to deal with players that were educated by other clubs and bring them into us. Yeah. We've now got the benefit and the privilege really of bringing up our own players from 8 years old now, taking them all the way through and giving them a ground of what it means to be a county player, and coached by a lot of ex-county players as well, which I think is a real advantage for us. So really excited to see where that gets us to long term. I think probably in the next sort of 3 to 5 years, it's going to be a smaller number, but we're going to be really focused on doing the best that we've got with those, and over time we think that number will grow.
But also, whilst you're developing that, you are looking at that sort of post-16 age group, aren't you? And I think there's a new scouting role you've got in mind for that.
Yeah, no, that's it, because we're most likely to get the players of, if you think about the next 3 years for county, the players that are going to be pushing into that first team at 19, 20, 21, in the next 3 years, they're the 16, 17 and 18-year-olds of today who are probably not at the moment in our academy. Some of them are. We'll take the best ones that we've got are in around our first team and on loan and doing that kind of thing at the moment. But it's likely we're going to have to top up with players. And we should, every club in the world's got this type of role. And even though they have got well-established academies, it's about benchmarking the players we've got in the building against the other best options, around the country. And we want to put ourselves under the pressure of having the best 18-year-olds we've got the chance to have at the club. So, we'll be bringing in a role in the summer of a recruitment role that will be just focusing on the 16 to 20 age group. And, if you think about those sorts of
national roles,
it's a national role, potentially do some stuff in Scotland and Ireland as well. But looking at players that are, playing in non-league football early, players that are coming out of other academies, top academies, and certainly, and also the ones that we've got ourselves in arranging loans for them and making sure their pathway's right. So it's going to be a crucial role for us at the club, and hopefully in good time we can update supporters on who that person is.
I think it's interesting you mentioned that. I know you're a big believer in sort of the heritage and that line of the history of the club and all the rest of it. And it's interesting there, you mentioned the ex-players that are involved. And how important is it, do you think, Paul Turnbull, Damo, Rainsy, people like that, how important do you think it is that they are involved? Because it's quite unusual to place that emphasis on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people talk about it, and it's about actions. I think that first and foremost, we want the best people that we can get. And if you've played for county, it gives you an additional advantage because you've been on that pitch. You understand what it means and feels like to play there. So that advice is going to be, I suppose, more appropriate than somebody that hasn't, if you know what I mean. And we also like the idea of making sure that people that have given a lot to the club can utilise that in their post-playing days as well. And that might be in this case we're talking about academy, but we've got James Jennings who is performing a different role in the club around the sort of professional player support. I dare say at some point we'll have someone in the marketing team, and we'll have someone in the ticket office, and we'll have maybe a chief exec or a director of football that will have come through that pathway as well. And we want to make sure those pathways are there by starting that now and putting the groundwork in place. But now across the board, I'm very aware that I'm at a historic football club. I'm going to be here for a period of time. There'll be a time when I'm not here, and we're going to make sure that throughput just keeps going and it's there for the long term.
It's good to hear. Obviously recruitment is the main thing for you, Simon. If we do remain in League 2 next season, obviously we all want to go up, but if we remain in League 2, would you then expect it to be a fairly quiet summer given the amount of money that Mark Stott has already invested? And on the flip side, does it look very different if we get promoted? Do you suddenly have another influx of cash that you've got to spend, and you've got to be able to recruit better players again?
Yeah, look, I think recruitment isn't just about signing players. Recruitment's sometimes about renegotiating contracts, extending people, letting people go. And we've always got a revolving list of players that we think could play in our team and have got the attributes to go and play in our team. And that's ongoing, no matter the level, no matter the league, no matter the situation, because you have to react all the time. We saw in January with Fraser's injury, with Bardo's injury, with Macca's injury, that we had to react quickly. And so we were able to dip to that list and choose the people that we thought fit our budget and fit the profile that we needed. We've got that list is ready for League One. Hopefully we're dipping into that. We've also got an ongoing list for League Two. We've got a lot of situations that we're not in potential control of. If other clubs have got interest in our players, we've got players that are out of contract in the summer who may have the different options that we want to continue to talk to. So we need that. We need to have that preparation to be ready to move whichever way it goes. And going back to the sort of value element of it is we're probably now established into the league. We understand what it takes. We can understand what value looks like, and we can make sure that we're doing sharper financial deals for the club moving forward.
And in terms of, you mentioned there some of the recruitment in January, it felt like evolution rather than revolution in January, but there were some long-term targets. You mentioned the short-term ones, like Byrne coming in, Davenport coming in, Rowan Grayson, the loans, but particularly Carl Noyle, Jack Stretton, Tanto Alafi, these are long-term targets, which presumably you've had an eye on for a good while now.
Yeah, obviously Jack was with us before. Jack did really well with us. We stayed in touch the whole time. Jack's been to games here. We've been, so we've had a long-term interest in Jack. We tried to sign Jack in the summer. Again, through financial planning, really, we missed out on him because we had to prioritise certainly centre-half position at the time. And Jack was moved on to Carlisle. At the end of the window, we tried to sign Isaac. Again, he was in the room of a League One club at that time. Actually signed his contract, but the club hadn't put the paperwork through in time, so the deal fell over in January, which meant that he became, fortunate for us, became available again for this window. So yeah, you're right. They're long-term targets. We're probably pushed into the Carl one a little bit because of Macca's injury. Yeah. Obviously we had James Brown here at the club, who was on loan from Blackburn. Blackburn had a recall on him and chose to choose that in January, which again meant that we needed to do something as well. So, but again, Carl was on that target list as somebody that we've been watching, that we'd identified, that we think has got the profile of playing for us and the right age and the right experience as well. So. We were able to dip into that and get Carl a county player.
Well, listen, we really appreciate your time, particularly on a match day. One final question: what is success going to look like? What's going to constitute for you a satisfactory season this time around? What were your pre-season targets, if you like?
Yeah, look, I think I'll start with the wider, fluffy sort of answer to that question, which I do believe is we've got to just make constant progress for the club in every area. So we won't always be able to win every game. We won't be able to get promotion every year. We'll strive for it and we'll try to achieve it. But where we want to do is we can't be doing that at the mercy of continual progress for the club. I'm really delighted to sit here and talk about 9,000 crowds and sellouts and stuff like that. And actually, it was really nice because at the Salford game just gone, Richard Park was a guest, and I was chatting with Richard because right at the start of it, when we were all meeting and talking about what this might be and etc., there was a picture in the boardroom which is you may have seen it. It's a painting of the Middlesbrough game, the semi-final.
Right. Yeah, 96, 97.
It's the first thing that caught my eye when I walked into the club. It's a beautiful night, and you know what this place looks like at night. It's beautiful. It's the lighting and the feeling of it, and it was like looking at it, saying to Mark, so we've got to make sure we've got nights like that at this club. If we've got that, and it's a packed house, it's a match that matters, we're probably doing all right. Yeah. I'm pleased to say we've got a few, so far, early days, whether it's cup games or league games, and it's such a privilege and a pleasure to be part of. So the fact that we've had those, I know that we're in a good place. We're desperate to go and win. If we asked the players, first and foremost what their expectations were, and the expectations were to be promoted this year. There was sort of a different feeling at different levels whether we would be able to go and be promoted automatically or whether we would take to go through the playoffs. We understood the history of our clubs, and we knew that it would be a difficult challenge. But certainly, it's something that we feel we have the abilities and the potential to go and do. And as we stand here today, we've got that chance. So we're going to go and get after it. And you know, I really hope that we're having another chat in 6 or 7 weeks with big smiles on our face like we did this time last year.
Well, it's an exciting 6 weeks ahead. Really looking forward to it. Simon, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Jon.
Cheers.
Cheers.